Hi everyone, welcome back to the Money Wisdom Podcast, and we are continuing our Ikigai live series. Today I'm very happy to have a friend, a long-time friend, a colleague joining us in the studio for this Ikigai live series. But before I ask him all the questions that I really want to ask him, it'll be good for me to introduce him. And I'm just going to read from my notes, okay, because I don't think I can memorize everything about him. So CJ or Choon Jin started as an accountant, and of course he's an accountant by training, but he has done various corporate roles from handling M&As to running a profit center in an insurance company, one of the larger insurance company in Singapore, to a regional consulting role for Greater China. But since 2007, CJ left the corporate world to venture into running his own practice in learning and development. And his entrepreneurship journey has taken him from running a niche training provider for MOE schools to a partnership with us many years ago to run life and retirement training. We used to have a Providend Center of Financial Education, but then we stopped that. And today, CJ leads Logos Learning. I'll ask him to talk a bit more about Logos Learning later on. So Logos today help their clients build their staff and leaders from the inside out, changing mindsets and transforming culture and performance. So CJ, thank you so much for agreeing to join us for this series, and welcome to the Money Wisdom Podcast.
No, thank you for having me. Right?
Yeah, so I've introduced you, but maybe it would be good for you to tell all of us a bit about yourself. What do you actually do in Logos?
Sure. So maybe explain a little bit about what Logos means. Logos, actually when we came out with the company name Logos Learning, and a lot of people were asking us whether we are teaching people how to design logos.
Yeah, right? I remember that.
But I think Logos in Greek actually is a word that means the controlling principles behind things. I know, Chris, you and I always talk about, actually a lot of these things about life and financial decisions, people know what they need to do, how they need to do it, but why do they not do it? So we title or we name the company Logos to really help us to put down the aspiration that we want to be able to go deeper to understand why they do the things we do. That's where it's Logos, right? So learning about why, hopefully then makes all these strategies in terms of team and leadership development more sustainable. So today I run the practice independently. I no longer have a small team and the privilege to work with you and your team in the previous setup. But a couple of us come together, we go to market together. And like-minded people that help organizations build individuals, teams, and organizations, and like you said, from the inside out, really like our name suggests, right? Going deeper to understand why they need to make the change or the growth that they desire for themselves.
What are some of the programs you run?
We run a wide range of different team and development programs, all the way from one-on-one coaching. I do some, the team of executive coaches do it, to team and group coaching, and also what we call learning and workshop stuff. There's also another side which is led by another one of my so-called lead consultants, which is more the HR side of the house. So some of the HR consultancy work.
Right.
So that's largely the range of stuff that we do.
Right. And I know you do quite a bit of emergenetics. You still do quite a bit of emergenetics.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. We love the tool.
Yeah. So I mean, we do emergenetics a lot in Providend as well. It is. I know those guys at emergenetics. They will probably very angry at me if I say that it's just a profiling tool. They don't like it to be called profiling tool, but it's really a good tool, good instrument to know about your thinking preferences and your behavioral attributes,
right.
And how you use this self-awareness to better understand people and better communicate with other people.
Correct.
So we do that at Providend, and you actually facilitate some of these conversations with our people as well. Yeah. So tell us a bit more about that part of your work.
Yeah. I think the tool is great and I love the tools, but as we all say, and again, our emergenetics folks will be like, I'm not sure how happy they will be with this, but we always say that tools always need to be fit for purpose, right? But the great news is this, emergenetics is a tool that we see fit for many of the purposes we have. And you go back to helping someone understand themselves deeper. So any tool that helps you think around how you think, behave, your values and all that, and go deeper will always be helpful. So we use tools carefully to serve the outcomes that we want. It must be fit for purpose and outcomes. Right. But we love emergenetics because it serves many of our purposes and it's easy. It helps, you have seen it how you work in an organization. the people catch it. It's a very positive way we language, how we use it.
Yeah, so CJ, I mean, we've been working for a long time, and CJ knows that I don't like sort of like team building activities. Yeah, I don't like those team building activities whereby you do a lot of jumping around, and then a lot of, I don't know, just activities, and then we try and derive meaning and principles behind it.
Yeah.
Because I always feel that it's a bit reverse engineering. But we do emergenetics because I feel that it is a good tool to build teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you understand how each other in the workplace prefer to think and how it manifests as behavior, it is in a way better. It gives you helps you to collaborate better with each other. And of course, if you're a parent, if you understand how your children prefers to think, you communicate with them. You're able to communicate with them better. Yeah. So if you're interested in this too, please reach out to CJ. He's been doing this for a long time, and so he's actually very experienced and very good.
Maybe one more thing to add, Chris, and I think you will be able to speak to this as well. I think the tool is also helpful in many ways to what we call build culture, right? We always talk about the famous Peter Drucker quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
That's right.
Yeah, but because of the understanding and the ease of the ability to help people retain, it's simple, not simplistic. We are using a lot for culture building stuff. So that's probably another part of the team and org development that I like to do and I do quite a bit of.
Yeah. So this series about Ikigai Life.
Yeah.
It's really a series whereby we speak to various people whom we feel that they have made Ikigai decisions in their life. And hopefully through their sharing in this particular series, we can inspire others to also do the same.
Yeah.
Especially in the work that I do, we want to inspire other people to first make life decisions. At Providend, we call it Ikigai decisions.
I see. Okay.
Before they make financial decisions to enable these Ikigai decisions. And you are definitely one person that I think I've known you since 2008. That was our emergenetics workshop that we went together.
Yeah, that was our common introduction point.
That's right. Yeah, so I've known you to be a person who will make first life decision. And all that you said you have done, I mean, it's totally, completely different from your training. Right? You're an accountant first, you're a trained accountant. And many people who have gone through accounting school, they have gone on to do things related to accounting, right? Financial analyst, fund manager, CFO, auditor, and you started in M&A, but then you did a complete switch into something that's totally not related, unrelated to accounting. So you made that decision. I believe it was an Ikigai decision for you. So maybe can you share with us your understanding of Ikigai? I mean, those words, the vocab wasn't there for you.
I think so.
In 2007.
Correct.
But you definitely made an Ikigai decision. So maybe you can share with all of us your understanding of Ikigai. How would you define your own words and what role does it play in your life?
Yeah, I think I sometimes show this little video about Ikigai and I now know that it's wrongly linked to
4-circle Venn diagram.
No, not the 4-circle one.
That's terrible.
The
you do that.
Nescafe ad, actually.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like what they say. They say, and it was a hashtag, what do you wake up for?
Yes. That's not wrong. It's actually not wrong.
Yeah, actually, right. So, and actually having read a little bit about Ikigai, since we showed it without fully understanding it, I think that's a good working definition. Is what we wake up for, what do we find meaningful, right? So, I love what you say about Ikigai decisions. I also like to think around it on a couple of levels, right? So obviously, that Ikigai decision I make to switch my career, leave corporate employment to start up my own business was a bigger Ikigai decision. But I think there are also smaller Ikigai decisions. Literally, what do you wake up for each day, right? And knowing that big purpose or what's important for you is important, but sometimes it's also just the small decisions that I think can be helpful as well.
Yeah. So what made you switch from accounting?
I guess the big there are a lot of the things that go in behind that, obviously. But one of the key things that made me want to do the transition was to be more, I guess, coherent internally for myself in what I value in terms of what I do for work. Now, I mean, I enjoyed my work and all. The money was great.
When you were in accounting, when you're M&A.
Yeah. No, so my earlier part of my career, I was doing assurance for a year. Didn't really like it, so I moved in consulting.
Assurance audit, right?
Audit, that's right. do M&A for a while. I mean, being in the financial services, then after I went to a profit center, did a bit of consulting, like you read off my profile. Money was great, but I didn't really feel like that's really what I want to do for work. I wanted to be able to be more able to work directly with teams and leaders and all that, right? So some of my people management role, I wish I didn't have to do all the budgeting side. I just focus on people development. So that was one thing about realizing what's truly important. But I always share this little story, and maybe you have heard me say it. But it's also about making a decision that's in line with my values. Not that one is better than the other. So I sometimes say this, and I hope I don't offend anyone on the podcast. Working for other people in the corporate is almost like being in the zoo.
That's you, Helen.
Yeah, that's you, correct? Right. He's not really the zoo because he owns the zoo. Yeah, he owns the zoo, right? Yeah. So the zoo, what does the zoo bring, right? Stability, right? Regular feeding times. Enclosure, some big, some small, depending on what animal you are. But that it brings that kind of, in our terms today, I guess, financial stability, right? Certainty and all that. But I realized that I'm not really wired that way. I like to roam free. I'm more like a jungle animal in some ways. So that's how I'm wired, right? I enjoy the freedom, the independence. In fact, I'm always fortunate and blessed to have that in a lot of the roles I do. Not all, of course, right? But I wanted more freedom and independence to be able to control exactly what I do. But obviously in the jungle, it's not going to be as stable. Feeding times are irregular. But you know what? You get to choose which part of the jungle you want to go to, who you want to hunt with, what you want to hunt for, what you want to eat. You can be vegetarian, you can be carnivorous. It's up to you.
Who you want people to see you.
Yeah, that's right. Where do you want to show up, right? Yeah. And I sometimes half joke, one of the things I cannot stand about the zoo is that every time I have to do animal show, I cannot take it. So, I mean, it's part and parcel of how corporates are set up. I'm not saying animal shows are necessarily bad, right? They serve a value. But I just didn't want to be part of that. And I wanted to do the work that really resonated in me. So, but I also understand that this entrepreneurship journey, and Chris, you have been an entrepreneur for a long time. It's not for everyone, right? Some of us value that zoo life a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I think Ikigai decisions ultimately must also sit with what I feel is some of your value system, core values, what's important for how you wired, right?
Yeah. So I guess we are not saying here that all employees are animals lah.
No lah, of course not.
I mean,
it's set up as an analogy.
I mean, there is a place for them.
Of course.
But really, like what you said, we need to understand how we are wired.
That's right.
What matters more to us, and we make that decision.
Yeah.
And with that decision, and with every Ikigai decisions, there will be sacrifices. There will be trade-offs, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to move to that in a short while. But besides this particular move, from a stable job in a Big Four, a pretty stable job in a huge insurance company, and then you decide to do what you are doing now, you have to make some financial sacrifices. Are there any, or were there any other Ikigai decisions besides this, if there are, that you made that required some sacrifices, especially financial ones?
No, I think the bulk of it was the financial bits, right? Because that, like you're not, money is not everything, but it's important. But maybe a little bit of how I made the decision. It was also at a point in 2007 where I was not married, no kids yet. So I think that I needed to have the conversation with the people around me. I was dating my wife then. Like, hey, you know what, no longer do we have a stable job. Is that okay? But it's a different conversation when it's a girlfriend versus you talking to a wife and you have kids, right? That is
true.
even more of a trade-off itself. So I feel Ikigai decisions, the trade-offs also need to be managed not personally, but with what I call sometimes, very corporate word, like
stakeholders.
That's right, right? Yeah, people tell me it's very corporate because I say my wife is a key stakeholder, right? It's part of stakeholder management, but that's how it is, right? I literally went to my mom and said, hey mom, actually you don't really need me to support you for this, at this phase where we are thankful for that, we kept our lifestyle simple. Can I take allowance break from for the next 1 year? That's what I did. Because I wasn't sure whether I could still generate the kind of income to not only feed myself, but to also give to my mom, right? So I think the trade-offs is not only personal. We need to think about some of the trade-offs in our stakeholders or larger context, if you will.
Yeah, so what financial sacrifices did you have to make? I mean, if you can be a bit more specific, like when you move from working in a corporate job to being an entrepreneur, what financial sacrifice do you have to make? And I'm sure when you first started out, like many entrepreneurs, right? Even though you were not married then, there were some challenges. How did you cope with these challenges?
Yeah, I guess I'm thankful in the sense that first, I like to think that I don't have very complex needs, right? But that's so subjective, right? Like how much is enough?
Yeah, some people say no complex needs, just a Lambo will do.
Yeah, exactly, right? So no, it was Mercedes-Benz. I just took public transport.
BMW TT.
Yeah, that's right. BMW TT.
For those of us who do not know, there's bus, MRT, walk, take taxi.
Yeah, that's right. Nowadays take Grab, TG.
TG.
Right, but so I think I kept it simple, and that helped. But yes, definitely, right. So in terms of lifestyle, gym membership stops. I just can't walk into any restaurant and eat, right? When friends told me, I was very candid to say that, hey, this is too expensive, I cannot go there. But of course, they are nice about it, and they sometimes tell me that, yeah, let's just I buy, right? Because they know where I am in my transition in career. There were some of those, but I'm fortunate to say that I didn't feel it as much. I think if I fast forward that to 5 years later when I had kids and all, I think the sacrifices would be a lot tougher because then I need to impose some of this on my immediate family.
Right. Yeah, but you moved out and you went into starting your own business in 2007. Which year did you get married?
9.
So 2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years.
And 2 years later, also, I mean, it's not like the business is making big bucks, right?
No. Yeah, so you're right in terms of, let's say, sacrifices in some ways, although sometimes we don't really look at it as a sacrifice. We kept it really simple. I mean, one of the things that at that point we got married was we could kind of try and get a loan for a condo, right? And then my in-laws, everyone would say, hey, why don't you just buy the condo and all that? But my wife and I decided that, hey, the entrepreneurship journey just barely got started. We bought a HDB resale flat anyway.
And you're still there?
It's still there. We're still staying at HDB.
It's the same flat, right?
Yes, in all these 15 years and plus that we have been there. So I think those are some of the lifestyle choices that you have to make, right? So no pool, no gated compound, things like that. So, I mean, on hindsight, could we have stretched for it and make it work? Yes, but who knows, right? Hindsight is always 2020. So in that sense, yes, there are some lifestyle decisions. Holidays as well. Hello, you're not going to take big holidays and all that when you first start out. Eat simple, small thing, Japanese car. Thankful I can drive, or we can drive. HDB flat. So yeah.
Yeah, but you said it right just now, right? Because in the pursuit of our so-called Ikigai, it's very important, especially for those of us who are married, that our spouses, they support us.
That's right.
Right, because if they have different expectation of how a family life should be, the kind of lifestyle that you all should have, and it's going to be very difficult because, I mean, half the time your spouse will be asking like, when are you going to stop this nonsense? Yeah. Right, you'll be, okay, I've given you 2 years to try. 2 years is up. Now we have kids. Yeah. Right, and want to send them to the best schools.
Correct.
All the enrichment classes, right? Tough. But Tzu has been very, very supportive.
I think so. She has been, right? I mean, definitely. And it's an ongoing conversation. It's not as if that, one time you get the thing. It's always like that. And it's not only the wife. My mom, I think 5 years even after things are probably running a bit better and all that, she'll say, hey, actually, why do you think about going back to work? Wouldn't it be more stable? I see you work very hard now. Why don't you... It's like that, right? And maybe because their generation is like, work hard, get a job, 政府, government if possible, stable.
You had a good education, got a good degree, why go and do this?
Yeah, why you go and do this? And they know not exactly how much I'm paid, but they know that I work in financial services. And it was obviously something that they know that pays well, right? So that's just how it is. Yeah.
But, yet you prioritize Ikigai over, or life decision, whatever you call it, your purpose, right, over this financial stability. And you were able not to be tempted and go back to what you didn't like to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not easy, especially when things were tough and your parents are there, your mother is there to tell you, you want to go back. And of course, you see your wife working hard, supporting. Initially, I'm sure she's the a main breadwinner in the initial years.
She in the initial year for sure. She was like,
so it was very tough, but you pursued your Ikigai. How has that changed your life?
I think let's just maybe I take a step back. And one of the things about Ikigai is often like I feel events that happen that define us. So maybe allow me to share this money and family thing and all that. One thing that really hit me was when I just started working a couple of years. And at that time, my dad retired, and really, all I wanted to do was to earn a lot of money because my family was humble background. And I said that, I want to be able to earn a lot of money so that they can enjoy their retirement and all that. So I worked really hard. And actually, the funny thing was that my dad retired, he had a lot more time, right? But I was hardly at home, right? And one of those days when I was involved in one of my business ventures, working late and all that, actually I got a call from my mom. And cut a long story short, my dad came down with a brainstem stroke and he was like bedridden for a full 7 years. I tell you, that hit me really hard. And because in my mind, the money equals to providing for my family. But in that chase for the money, prioritizing the financial decision in some ways, I forgot the life decision and what's important because it was for my family. But I missed out all those times where my dad, I could have taken him out for a simpler meal, just spend time, right? That one was the thing that hit me itself, which is why I always felt like I needed to live in line with the values that are important. Money is important, let's not discount that, but it should not be front and center, right? And so I think that marked me in many ways, that helped me make the decision.
So when your dad had that stroke, you were already into your business, right? You left the corporate world.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So that was the other thing about me. I always figured out that I had a little bit of the jungle in me, right? So
diversify and do many things.
Unfortunately, not many that are so successful. But I was running a side business with full disclosure on that while working in the company. So obviously you got a daytime job and then you did that. This is nuts, right? So weekends are out. Hardly see the family and stuff like that. So it was that phase of time. So it was 2-3 years into working in my corporate life while trying to run a side gig.
Yeah. So I think you just shared something really deep and complex and not easy to understand, because when you were doing a full-time corporate job, you made a decision to do a business.
Yes.
And sometimes we can confuse that to being a Ikigai decision.
Yeah, you're right.
But actually, that was really more a financial decision because you wanted to make more money. Or it could really be a Ikigai decision.
Yeah.
But somehow, it got intertwined with money.
Yes, that's right.
And in that chasing of that money to do better, we forgot other Ikigai decisions that are as important.
Yeah, and go back to that's exactly right. And in that chasing, we forgot the why. We forgot why you're even chasing that in the first place, right? My why was, I want to provide for my family. My parents work hard. I want to give them a better lifestyle. But actually, what does that mean, right? So we forget the why. And back to my thing about, Ikigai decision needs to be taken in context with the stakeholders, so-called. That was also the other learning itself.
Right.
Sometimes we don't have that conversations, especially in some ways in Asian families. The parents and all, we don't talk in the same ways that we do with our kids now in some ways, right? It's just different. So, but it's just not wired in us that way. So that was the learning point as well, right?
Have you been overwhelmed by market uncertainty in a landscape crowded with misinformation? Our new ebook, A More Reliable Way to Get Enough Investment Returns, is here to help. Each chapter is carefully curated to help you overcome confusion and empower you with knowledge that prioritizes reliable returns, guiding you towards a fulfilling investment experience. Check out the link in the show notes to download a complimentary copy of the full ebook today. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so I do several workshops for our clients on Ikigai.
Yeah, that's right.
It's sort of like my newfound interest 2 years ago.
Yeah, we're trying to find time for one.
Yeah, because we were doing workshops in the past on finishing well.
Yeah, that's right.
About how one can pursue a single life purpose. And then 2 years ago, I found Ikigai. And then I shared with you that the traditional 4-circle Venn diagram is wrong. That's not Ikigai.
Yeah.
Ikigai doesn't have to be. It can be what one of your Ikigais can be your single life purpose.
Yeah.
What you are called to do. That can be an Ikigai. Yeah. But the word Ikigai in Japanese really means, it's 2 words, Iki and Gai. Iki is more daily living, and Gai is what is of value and or what is of worth. And so Ikigai is not just the pursuit of one single life purpose. It is also the things that you do, the small things that you do on a daily basis, which can be of worth and of value, and what you wake up for. Like, for example, waking up and bring your son to school.
Yeah.
It's a small thing relative to the big purpose of saving the world.
That's right.
But it's an Ikigai.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
Spending time with your mother now, it's an Ikigai. Right? Small little things, but of worth and of value. And so in the pursuit, I just thought that what you shared is very precious because in the pursuit of our Ikigai, we should not be mistaken that there is only just that one purpose. We need to balance it with our other Ikigais in life, including, in your example, spending time with our parents and many other things.
Correct. No, I agree. And I think the finding or articulating your sense of purpose, what is important, your life, mission statement, like Stephen Covey will have it. I think there's a value in that. But if you are fixated on that, then it's kind of difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a very big thing. And it's like, what does it look like on a daily basis? So I love what you said, that meaning must be also on a daily basis. So probably, kind of like when I started, I said that I feel like Ikigai decision got different levels, right? Some are bigger ones, but there are also small ones we can make that still give us a sense of meaning and purpose.
Yeah, so I think that was your realization that in the making of your Ikigai, you should not also neglect the other so-called, although there's no such word, smaller Ikigais.
Yeah.
I also know that some years back, you had an incident in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, the Hong Kong incident.
Which scares all your friends. Of course, one of our friends and myself, we flew the next day after hearing to Hong Kong to visit. We were just there to really shop at Zara.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, of course, after we saw you and then we sent you into the operating theatre, Chun Seng and me, we went to Zara and we had a way of a time shopping.
On my behalf, right? Thank you.
Yeah, on your behalf. But it was a very scary incident. Maybe you can share with us a bit about that. And you were there in a way to pursue your Ikigai, right? You had a overseas stint to teach, to train. But then you had an incident in Hong Kong. Maybe share a bit about what happened in Hong Kong and what you took away from that incident.
Yeah. So I guess for our podcast listeners, in a nutshell, what happened was that when I was on a trip overseas.
Which year was that?
Oh God, that's 2019. No, 18. 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018. So in 2018, I think I just rebranded Logos for a couple of years. So things were looking up again, working hard, enjoying the business side of things, right? And basically in one of those trips in Hong Kong where I was on doing a client session, in a nutshell, I had a heart attack, almost died. Okay. Thankfully, they found me in the hotel and they sent me into the hospital. And that's where I think Chris, you, my family all flew down just to send me into the operating theatre and hopefully I'll make it out alive. If not, then at least you see me for one last time, I guess. Of course, I'm trying to be a bit more lighthearted about this, but
it was really scary.
It was.
Yeah.
And I think my learning from that, and a lot of people ask me, how has your life changed, right? And I like to think that I already had a big realization and think through when I left in 2009, 2007, 2008, and then 2009 setting up business proper many years back, right? But you know what? Sometimes it's like that. You make those decisions, you're very anchored on doing what is needed, but life catches up with you, right? And even in a Ikigai decision, doing something I love so much, right? I missed out what else is important, right? And on hindsight, I felt like there was actually, again, it comes back to a little bit of the money thing, right? There was actually a lot of inherent stress around financial resources more than I did care about. Because the context is that a couple of years back, I just kind of exited the partnership with you all, and then I was on my own. So and that's scary, right? Because you no longer have a team of people and a parent company or sister company support and all. So when things were looking up, I just took on more and I took on more and I took on more. I didn't know how to stop, right? Because in my mind, the kids were growing up. Again, it's back to this same thing, right? I need the money to provide a lifestyle and to be responsible for my family and all that. But in the whole process, I forgot to be responsible for myself. That health took a toll, obviously, in more ways than I cared to imagine. That's why the whole heart attack happened. So I think what changed me was to be able to manage my pace a little bit better. To operationalize my Ikigai decision a bit better. Because it's not about that, oh yeah, I'm on the right track and this is just, you step on the accelerator, go all the way. But how do you manage that, right?
Yeah, so I know you have said that before, but just for the benefit of our listeners, right?
Yeah.
So how do you balance? How do you balance that chasing of Ikigai with that financial stability that you need? Because it's real. You need the money.
Yeah. So, I don't know, balance, right? I'm not sure it's balance per se, but okay, we take a step back. We first need to define for ourselves what is your definition of stability, and it's different for different people, right? For me, financial stability is being able to provide for a family, immediate family, right? Together with your wife, of course, to be able to take care of them to a certain extent, right? But what is stable to one person could be different from another person. So I think you need to define what is that stability for yourself. That's the first step. In terms of the balance, it's an ongoing process, I would say, right? But there's always a trade-off in terms of balance and all that. Maybe I share a practical tip that sometimes I find is useful. So in terms of Ikigai decisions, I always ask myself, what value does some of these decisions bring, right? Meaning to say that, how is this in line with my Ikigai? How is this meaningful, right? How meaningful it is, like, if you will, right? And there's consultant, we like to do 2 by 2, right? So on one axis, probably, matrix, right? The value or the impact, if you will, and on the other one is the cost. Now, the cost of doing this thing or making this decision, right, sometimes is a high cost that brings about small value. Then you think, don't do so much, right? But some things are high cost in terms of time, resources, and all that, and financial aside. But it brings high value, so maybe you invest for the long term, right? But there are some things that are actually low cost, right? But actually high value that we can be able to do as well. So I give you an example, right? So I always thought that I needed to bring my mom for a nice holiday every couple of years. She's getting on age, right? After my dad passed, bring her for a nice holiday and all. And so that's what we try to do. We other than bring the family, bring her, and then, with her on board, we need to make sure that it's a more luxe version of the tour and all that, because she's obviously getting on age. So obviously it's a significant financial outlay. And then some couple of years back, I was just sitting down and talking to her about how she's enjoying holiday. And to my horror, I found out that actually, the holiday she go because we asked her. No.
She found it very tiring to go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my mother said.
Exactly, right? So then she like, actually, you got time because you run your own thing now, because she's finally got it that I'm not going back to work as far as possible, right? We just have breakfast and all that. It's easy. Then I was like mind blown. Right? I say,
I wasted so much money.
Yeah, right? Like wasted so much money. Of course, it was still nice. I'm sure she enjoyed it. But again, this is about value and impact, right? But okay, about cost and impact, right? But again, the cost here cannot only be measured by money. But I use that as a way to think around, okay, my financial decisions, how much is it in line with my Ikigai, right? So I try to use that as an ongoing reflection to refine my decision making, if you will, right? Now, does it mean that I don't bring my mom go holiday? No lah. We just came back from Phuket. But all these things about big holidays and all that, actually having a conversation with her, she doesn't need that. And she has made it clear she doesn't want to fly anything more than 5 hours because it's tiring, right? I was having all these dreams about bringing her to US and and it's just really then being conscious that, hey, if I have a pocket of time, do what is meaningful for her. Have breakfast with her, take her out and all that. A hawker meal versus US trip, very different, but equally impactful and meaningful and Ikigai, right? So it's not about the money, right? So we tend to lock in sometimes on that.
Yeah, so I mean, my takeaway really is that in making Ikigai decisions, we are really being true to ourselves. We are being downright honest with ourselves, right? That what are the things that we do and that they are really meaningful, they are really of worth.
That's right.
We need to be very honest with ourselves and say, I choose these things.
That's right.
I choose not to do those things that, well, outwardly may seem good, but actually I don't find any meaning in it. And in the same manner, we make those, or rather in the same manner, we are honest with ourselves in our financial decisions.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, I don't buy a condominium because I think I will look good. I buy it if I really find joy in owning one because I need it, right? And I think that I will make use of the facilities and it's going to be really, it's really going to give me joy. Do it. I'm not saying, we're not saying here that, oh, you own a landed property or you own a condo, oh, you are so wrong, Yahweh. So we're not saying that.
No,
right?
of course.
Yeah,
right.
you don't do it to show to others that you have it. You do it because it really brings you joy and meaning in those financial decisions, and you can, of course, afford it. And if we can be honest with ourselves, whether in Ikigai decisions or financial decisions, then there is that alignment.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So that's something that's important. I mean, your question was about balance. So I find that that's one, being able to just think a little bit more intentionally around what is the cost financially and otherwise versus what value that you get from it, right? To your point about buying condos. But I also wanted to share another thing that I think is important is that I feel like to be able to make some of these Ikigai decisions, we just need to create the white space in our life.
White space.
White space means like margins, right?
Okay.
And I often say this, like sometimes life happens in the margins, right? I always remember my lead pastor telling us when we are kids and all that, saying that, hey, please, there's no such thing as quality time with the kids. You need to cut aside the quantity amount of time.
That's true.
And then from there you will come, right? You cannot say, sorry, I only got 30 minutes. Can we spend some quality time? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You need to take time to hang out. So in the same way, life happens in the margins. And if we don't have the margins, actually it's very difficult to sit down and think, what's truly meaningful for you. Maybe I share a story, right? We've been running this finishing well stuff, and we are and our program, by the way, always get people to write the purpose statement out that. If you recall, we had a partner in Mauritius. So I remember bringing elements of the finishing well to Mauritius and
Eric.
Yeah, Eric, right? Yeah. Don't know how he's now, but in Singapore, when we ran it in this way, the writing the purpose statement was tough. Everyone purpose, what is it about, right? But the funny thing in Mauritius is that I was done in a fraction of the time. And for them it's very clear, but I know what's important for me in my life, right? Then I say, but your work doesn't seem very in line. You say, no, it's okay. I have this disposition. I bring my values. I bring what's important for me to my work, and I make the best of it. Correct? Because for them, there's so much white space, right? Work ends on a reasonable time. They take a walk in the mountains. They take a swim in the sea. They have time to savor and think about what's important. Now in Singapore, it doesn't happen that way. We are just set up differently. But to be able to make those Ikigai decisions, I think that white space, that margins need to be important. So be be conscious in some ways, be intentional about carving out this space for ourselves. Just do nothing lah. Sometimes also is helpful. Yeah.
I don't know whether I told you before, but when I was young, we used to have those jotter book, right? That we need to draw margins before I write anything on it. I had this problem, which is I cannot draw a straight line. So my line is always slanted.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then of course now that I'm 55, I realized that I've been right all the time. The teacher was wrong because the teacher always asked me to, come on, keep your line straight. But I'm always drawing it slanted. And then I realized that actually I've been right all the time because actually at different stage of life, our margins are different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
That's nice.
It's a bit lame, but it's true because there are some parts in your life whereby you have wider margins, and there are some parts in your life that you just have a narrower margin because you have less time.
Yeah.
You have got parents to take care of. You have got children. Have your career. But the key here is whether the margins they are narrow or wide still carve out that space for yourself. That's because like what you said about parenting, right? We cannot orchestrate those teaching moments. We cannot say, okay, quality time. No. I only spend 2 hours on a Saturday morning with you. And during these 2 hours, come on, all those teachable moments must come out.
Tell me your deepest stuff because it's not going to work that way. You hang out, you spend time, and you enjoy the process, right? But Singaporeans, we are like sometimes like, okay, what's the point of this time? Like, sometimes there's no point. But I think that's one tip that I want to encourage everyone, because it's only in these margins we find time to reflect, think, and literally savor, right? And this is where some of this mindfulness thing, which is a very big thing now. That's a topic for another day itself. But I think there is definitely a place for being mindful of what we are doing and being in the present, and margins help us do that. So how do we consciously guard those margins, right? To your point, big or small. I know it's tough, right? You got young kids, you got parents, you got work, you got demands. You got your own hobbies you want to do, but what is it that will be meaningful? And
you are listening to this and your kids have all grown up. I want to encourage you because you know my life, right? I had no margins when I was starting Providend. And I'm one of those parents whereby I think when my kids were young, they grew up without seeing me a lot. But thank God they turned out okay.
More than okay, come on, they're doing well.
They turned out okay. And of course, now that I realize this, I create margins. I have margins and time spent with them.
Nice.
So it's never too late. It's never too late. Even if your kids are adult and you look back and say, I should have created margins for my kids when they're younger. It's actually never too late even to do so, even when they're adult kids.
Yeah. And of course, we are talking about margins also for the people around us. But I just wanted to be clear that specifically, I think this is like the me time, the margins for ourselves.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So that's really important. If you think that you want to find your Ikigai, make Ikigai decisions, you need those margins, right? I love it, Chris, when we were designing the leadership program, we talk about the think time, right? And that's what I suggest to some of the leaders that we work with. Take half a day off. If the company permits, great. Take your own leave. Go and do your personal retreat, right? Because, if you need to take half a day of leave, to be not having to take care of the family and all that, just do what you enjoy, right? Go to the beach, read a book, listen to the music. But those are important. So that think time, the margins for ourselves, I think again, back to the question, right? Balance, how do we do that? Creating that space will just help us naturally get into a bit of that.
That's a great reminder. We used to give think time to our leaders.
So does Helen get half a day?
They have 3 hours off whenever they want to take it.
All right, man.
They know and they can take it without taking leave.
But you guys are good.
So they can take their 3 hours off for the think time if they want.
Yeah.
Okay. We better not digress.
Yeah, okay.
I've got to ask this question, right? In what ways have you seen the pursuit of Ikigai create a positive impact? Not just for individuals, but also for organization.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't have any specific examples, but having worked in the last couple of years, especially in a bit of the non-profit space, I think a lot of people have made those Ikigai decisions, right? One of the things that I see a lot in I'm not talking only about leaders, but people who could have gotten a very much better paying job. They make a decision to join a non-profit space, to take a massive pay cut sometimes, to do work that's probably not as glamorous in some ways, but they find their meaning and purpose. So that's professionally how I see that space, right? The charity non-profit space. Again, a separate conversation, but I always get really upset to say that why can't they be paid better? But that's a systemic thing that is improving, I think, but can be better. But here we are talking about trade-offs and financial decisions. So I think a lot of them made Ikigai decisions to do that. And also, I see friends who are now who have also taken time to stop work just to be with their family. So it's not only about where they find their source of meaning in work. It can be sources of meaning in their what you call in their family life, right? And yeah, so these are the couple of things that I see. I see that when you are able to do that, you're just a more fun person to hang around with.
Right.
The organizations benefit, the teams benefit from your best work because you're just excited and interested to do it. Okay, I don't know about excited. Even you find your Ikigai, you're not going to wake up like, this is the life. It's an ongoing process.
I'm
It's
going to
never
go
100%.
to work and do accounting. Yes.
Some people like that. No, come on, not accountants.
No, I never. My son is an accountant.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But some people do, and we need that, right? So each one of us are designed differently. I mean, if I love one of the verses in the Bible. I mean, maybe not all our podcast listeners are Christians, but I love this verse that says that we are all God's workmanship, created to do good works in which we are prepared in advance to do. Right? So the Ikigai, in many ways, in terms of the work front, and work can be for community work and otherwise, we all have certain inclinations. Some of us like to be accountants, some of us like to be jungle in the zoo, and all that. There's no right or wrong, but that is how I feel we need to be able to.
I mean, as an organization leader, I feel that if we are able to, or I'm able to help my people find their Ikigai, whether it is their Ikigai in the work that they do. I'm not going to sort of like say that every role in the organization, people can link it with their Ikigai. It's hard. Sometimes it's just hard, right? But if I'm able to do that, like you said, I think they benefit, the organization benefit because they will give of their best work because they are very passionate about
For
it.
sure.
They are not just passionate about the work, they put passion into the work, right? So that's great. But I'm also very big into helping them find other Ikigais in their lives. Because if as organization leaders, we are able to help them find their other Ikigais in their lives and they can see that work is actually giving them the financial means to fund those Ikigai in their lives, then coming to work can be meaningful.
Absolutely, right. I'm just reminded of a Chinese phrase, and I'll translate it, right? I think it all starts with the individual. So to your question about how has this Ikigai decisions been made, but it starts from each of us individuals as best as we can making those decisions, right? Because the Chinese phrase, I hope I get it right? It says, 修身齐家治国平天下. It's like修身 is you're in touch with yourself, you understand yourself, and you like yourself, love yourself, get at peace, grow continually, build the family, rule the country, and then world peace, right? Okay, so but I love that because it is like that. So I can't think of any specific example. I shared some generic ones, but it's really like that. So we take care of ourselves, and from there, the families, the organizations, the countries we live in, and hopefully the world is a better place, right? But it starts with self.
How would you encourage someone after listening to this and say, okay, look, I'm really inspired. I want to be honest with myself and I want to make that Ikigai decision, but I'm worried. Because that may involve some financial sacrifices. It may not.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking as if that every time when you make a Ikigai
it's not.
decision, you have to make some financial sacrifices, but it's not always like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it would be great if you can make an Ikigai decision and it doesn't hurt your finances in any way, right? But what do you say to those people? Because these are the people that will need the most encouragement. I want to be very honest with myself, but I may have to take a hit.
Right.
How would you encourage them?
Yeah.
Nike, just do it.
Yeah, I think so. But I think going back to what you said about like reframing the Ikigai is not only like the purpose, right? So maybe the first question to think around for anyone is, hey, what are the sources of meaning in my life, right? Actually, what do I enjoy? What's useful? What's helpful? Start there first. Maybe is a good place. So, and sometimes Ikigai is just spending time with the kids, or like go somewhere for 30 minutes, have a nice coffee at your local coffee shop or the artisan ones, whatever it might be, right? Or take a walk by the beach if you stay near the beach. Take a walk by. So sometimes it's just some of those things, right? What are these some sources of meaning? Probably start there and then get started. And exactly to your point, then ultimately, then you say, okay, how does it translate into how I make bigger Ikigai decisions around my work, where it is now, my family. And I think those bigger decisions, there is a space of thinking around it. There's also then, learning and development, right? Getting help, getting a coach, talking to mentors, talking to your community, talking to your loved ones, right? And then do that. And, in the spirit of like design thinking and all that, it is really just to start somewhere and prototype something. Sometimes you say, actually, that was meaningful in the past for me, but then you try now, then not so, and that's okay, right? But, okay, so to summarize, what are the sources of meaning, right? Probably start simple, because sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I need to take half a day and think about my purpose statement. Sorry, I don't think you'll ever do that. It's difficult. That's too big a gap, right?
So basically what you're saying is start small.
Start small.
Right, take the first step, okay,
Yeah.
and then
What's
after that,
meaningful?
let it become bigger and bigger. And of course, from someone whom comes from the wealth advisory space,
Yeah.
right, I will also say it doesn't mean that you need to be financially irresponsible.
Yeah.
Right, so you make that Ikigai decision, but have clarity with your finances. Look at your finances. I mean, that's what we help our clients to do, right? We give them that clarity to say that, okay, if you pursue this Ikigai decision, this is what it means for your
nice, yeah.
finances. Have that clarity to know whether you can do it now.
Okay.
And if you cannot do it now, when can you do it? Because some of the things you don't have to do it now, because we still have to be responsible for our families, for our children, for our quote-unquote stakeholders, right?
Yeah.
We cannot just give up and say, okay, I'm just going to pursue my own Ikigai and I don't care about the money part, because that's selfish. That's being irresponsible, right? So have clarity. We're not saying that pursue your Ikigai at all financial costs. Have some clarity with your finances. And then if you know that you can do it now, great.
Yeah.
If you can't do it now, then at least you know when you can do it, or what are some of the active steps that you can take to make sure you can do it 1 year later, 2 years later, or 3 years later.
Yeah.
But start small. Start with something small. Start that first step into thinking, what are those Ikigai decisions? Start your first step by having financial clarity.
Yeah, definitely, right. And I think the call out here is also a lot of times people think like, oh yeah, I pursue this meaning and purpose when I'm financially retired and all that. You and I know it doesn't work that way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember a book that I didn't finish reading, as with many books I didn't finish, that really impacted me and reminded me of what life is about. And this was even before my dad fell sick, right? It was actually a book written by one of the big four partners, because it has special meaning because it was in the kind of the industry I was in, right? Okay. It was a KPMG global partner, and he found out when the time he stepped down at the point in time, he only had 1 year to live because of cancer, right? And he wrote a book called Chasing Daylight.
I think you recommended me that book before.
Yeah. So when I flipped through the synopsis and read about it, I say, yeah, I must remind myself. And that was just when I was just stepping into the workforce, right? Or trying to make money for all that life will bring, and like wow, I'm here to do it, right? But then reading through some of the synopsis and snippets of the book itself reminded me that wow, we shouldn't wait until we are there. But I know even that with the awareness, I still went down the wrong path and I still like, okay, I want to take care of family. I have a noble reason, right? But I miss it entirely, right? So I want to encourage all of us, start small. It doesn't have to be something you do only when you retire, because Ikigai decisions, meaningful decisions are not necessary that way. Yeah.
I think that's a very good reminder and encouragement. It's always a 3-step forward, 2-step backward journey. As long as we continue to move 3 steps forward, right? And something that both of us resonate, and I saw it on your LinkedIn just last night, and that's the word intentional, intent.
Oh yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So I mean, pursuing Ikigai is not by chance. It takes intention. It takes intentionality, right? So we start that very first step first, albeit a small step, but at least it is the first step.
Yeah. So intentionality, I think I resonate a lot with that word. And at some point, I thought of developing and trademark a program called the Intentional Leaders Program.
That sounds like your next Ikigai project.
Maybe. Not sure.
Thank you very much, CJ, for spending time with us. And for all those listeners out there, thank you very much for joining us for this particular episode. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. And if you are listening to us for the first time, I encourage you to follow us on this podcast. And you find this to be interesting, please help us share it with your friends, with your family as well. So till the next time, thank you once again.
All analysis, views or opinions from interviews, recommendations and other information broadcasted, podcasted or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or a recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability for any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.